have Q&A at the end. You can also enter questions into the chat during the presentation, and we will try to catch all of those and make sure that Cailin sees those, and then at the end we'll have Q&A. So if there's something that you have a question on, even not related to freebies, do feel free to plug that in. We are here to help you. The Homeschool Buyers Co-op does so much for folks, and Cailin is a great resource for plenty of topics. Okay. Well, at that, it looks like it is officially 2 o'clock, so we will get started. Thank you for joining us for this very special edition of Tuesdays at 2. And I hope you all will join me in welcoming Cailin Sandvig from the Homeschool Buyers Co-op. Cailin is a passionate education and homeschool advocate, and she's been developing resources to share from math to music to art. So Cailin, thank you again for joining us and being here today. We are really excited about the collection of freebies that you've brought to us from Homeschool Buyers Co-op. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the co-op and what services it offers to homeschoolers, new and veteran?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you, Annette, for inviting me to be here today. I'm absolutely thrilled. And then I want to thank everybody who is on this webinar for joining. It really is just an absolute privilege to be able to share a little part of your day. So thank you for setting aside this time. I do really appreciate it. So yeah, the Homeschool Buyers Co-op, it's been around for about 15 years, and we are the world's largest buying club for homeschoolers. So the co-op was founded with the idea that, you know, schools get huge discounts on curriculum because they're able to buy in volume, and homeschoolers weren't getting that same sort of treatment. So the co-op was started to make sure that we could harness the collective power of homeschoolers and make these curriculum buys together and save a whole lot of money. So some of the stuff we have on the site is up to 95% off retail. So if you're a homeschooler and you're looking for curriculum, I highly encourage you to join the co-op. I guess that'll be our first freebie. Membership is free. And then you have access to all of these really incredible deals. We vet the curriculum. We only allow about 1% of the requests we get actually end up on the site. So we make sure everything available is just educationally sound and really going to be a great addition to your homeschool. So that's the co-op in a nutshell. And then,
okay.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I guess I will kick off the presentation from there.
Perfect.
Awesome. So before I get started, I did want to let you know that I've sent Antoinette an accompanying PDF that she will email you after this webinar. And it has direct links to all of these resources I will discuss today. So don't worry about trying to catch the specific URLs or anything of that nature, because everything will be in a nice piece of paper delivered into your inbox. So you will get that information that way. And so today we will be talking about several of my very favorite freebies. And there's a lot going on in the world right now, as we were kind of just discussing with wildfires and everything. So this time around, I'm really gonna just focus on some really fun activities and cool curriculum that you can add to your homeschool, totally free. So hopefully we can keep this a real positive event for everybody. So, there we go.
And for anyone who is watching the replay afterward, that there'll be a link to that document of freebies also.
Brilliant. Good thought. That's great. Awesome. Okay, well, I want to get started by getting us all out of our houses. I know some of us have been stuck inside for too long. So I personally love getting my family out of the house, but it can be really hard to come up with new and exciting places to visit. Plus, there's always the question of how am I going to keep my kids from melting down in their car while keeping my eyes on the road. But we've got everything covered for you today, so don't worry. So first things first, we got to figure out where we're going to go. This is my video.
Field trips are definitely one of the best parts of homeschooling.
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite freebies available from the Homeschool Buyers Co-op, and it's our interactive field trip database. It's filled with incredible destinations in the US and Canada, so you can find really great places to visit at home or further afield. And as I mentioned, I'm in Utah. So I'm going to click on that state in my map, and I'll get a bunch of really great ideas. There's a filter at the top, and so you can pick what kind of activity you want. I want to get my kids out before it gets cold, so I'm going to go with nature. And you can see the results on the map. You can narrow it down further by entering your zip code or the distance by picking a mileage limit. And so here are all my nature activities, and I'm intrigued by the Swan Preserve and Eco Center. So I'm going to click through, which will allow me to learn more about the location, find the hours, find a link to their websites. Really, everything's pulled together for you right here. It's really convenient. You can find this database by going to homeschoolbuyerscoop.org and under the free resources menu, that's just at the top there. So we've picked out where we're going. Now what? Now I've got a bunch of kids in my car. What am I going to do? So I've rounded up a few of my favorite car-based activities to share today.
Are they asking, are we there yet?
Constantly. Right in my head all the time. Blessed little creatures. No, they're great. So I really love these drawing prompts from picklebums.com. They have a bunch of different ones. And then, you know, it's instead of trying to distract my kids from the fact that they're stuck in the car, I feel like these really give them a focus. So they're really sort of paying attention of what they're actually doing, being mindful of what they're currently experiencing. And there's enough on these pages to provide inspiration, but not so much that it limits their creativity. So it's a really great sort of open-ended art activity that really can help pass the time on the road. Sorry, someone's not on mute and I don't know how to do it. Oh, there we go. All right. So Picklebums in general is a really great resource for free printables. So I highly recommend checking them out. There's like a vast library, even beyond car trip stuff. Oops. Okay, so then the next thing is car games. This is one of my favorites. It's Word Battleship. Again, this is a free printable, and this comes from sugarspiceandglitter.com. And it's a really easy way to recreate a fun classic with no tiny pieces. So you can't lose them in the car, which is essential. All you do is print off 2 sheets. You pick a handful of words of varying lengths, so you know, as many letters as it takes to create each size of battleship. And it's the classic game. And I personally recommend printing off a stack of these because, you know, kids aside, if I'm playing, I want more than one game. I'm too competitive. What if I lose the first one? So having a few to go through is handy. And then all the instructions you can see are at the top here. So it's a really handy car activity.
That looks like a lot of fun. They both, all of them. I love it.
So much.
Great list.
And then this from Artsy Fartsy Mama. This is the holy grail of free road trip printables. It's this great binder. It's filled with all sorts of stuff. You can see it has really great ideas for organization, like of course, when I'm doing all my printables, I need a pencil bag. If I don't have, otherwise they're going to be loose in my car, and then it's chaos. And then it also has these really cool unexpected activities, like the spy bag on the right, which is so much fun. It's a great sensory activity because your kids can move everything around and really get in there and be surprised how much time they can spend. You keep a mental list in your head of what you've put in there, and then ask them to find very specific things. It can take a while. Great. There are connect the dots, coloring pages, games, really anything you can think of. I love this collection for long road trips, but also just like as a permanent fixture in my car. So when we're running around town, I have an easy to access go-to activity pack that I can hand off to my kids to keep them busy.
Yeah, that's great, especially if your co-op day is far away from your house, to be able to have that just always go to car activity. That's nice and convenient.
It's so helpful. And I mean, it keeps me from losing my mind, to be honest. Like it's, I know where it is. My kids know what to do with it. It's great.
Yeah. A few years back, our homeschool co-op was a good hour and 15 minutes away from our house, but it was very much worth it. It was an excellent group. But this would have been a wonderful thing to have had in the car.
Yeah, any of these activities, I cannot recommend enough. I mean, everything I'm talking about today, I'm talking about it because I love it. So I get really excited about this stuff. I think you guys can probably tell. But yeah, it's just...
Now with having twins, do you have 2 of everything in the car then?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So 2 pencil pouches.
Yeah. Yeah, they're crazy. They're good. They're good babies. I love them. But yeah, it's you gotta make. I mean, I would recommend having something specific for each of your children, because also they're in the car, right? There's not a whole lot of stimulation going on aside from looking out the window and maybe what you can provide for them. And since they're a captive audience, really tailoring it to their interests can make it one extra special.
Right. Follow the child.
Yeah, it gives it gives them the tool that they want that will keep them captivated, which is really helpful for you as the parent as well. Like everybody's day is better.
Right.
So moving on from car activities, I thought another thing we should probably talk about is computer skills. Adding computer skills curriculum and activities can be a bit daunting to some homeschool moms and dads. If you're of a certain age, my age, just a little beyond when these skills were commonly taught as we were growing up. So unless you've really actively pursued picking up some of these technology skills on your own, it can feel like a really big abyss to conquer. So luckily, there are great freebies to help you along the way. And personally, this is something like I am here for. I get very excited about this. So this is super cool. Did you know that you and your family already have access to free MIT classes? Like, these are classes taught by some of the leading minds in the world. They're just available to you. They cover tons of subjects. And this list that I just scrolled through is just the engineering and computer science list. I didn't even go all the way to the bottom. This presentation, data-wise, was getting huge, so I had to cut off the video somewhere. It just keeps going. It's so cool. It's really super duper cool. So
MIT is where Larry Schiller did his undergraduate work.
Oh, you know what? I didn't know that and I'd forgotten it.
Yes.
I just adore Larry. He's the best. So he's such a smart and lovely man.
And coding is such an important skill. That's something when I was growing up and we got our Commodore 64. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember those. Um, so my friends were getting video games and, you know, Atari, things like that, and we got the Commodore. And one of our requirements from my father was that we spend 20 minutes a day, that was the minimum, learning how to code on the computer. And I have to say, it was one of the best things because it's something, those skills that I learned then, I mean, they've had to have been updated, but it's really helped me throughout my life. So I highly recommend everyone get some basic literacy in this area.
I mean, and when we're talking about preparing our children for future careers, like computer sciences in general is a, you know, it's going to be a forever necessary, important job path. So giving your kids the heads up and teaching these skills young really can make an impact for their entire lives. This is something I'm very passionate about. So these programs, and they really, you know, I'm not a technology person. It was never something that I learned in school, really. It was never something I pursued on my own. As an adult, it's something I'm very interested in, but I'm also aware of how not looking into this stuff when I was younger was really limiting. So, you know, again, for my kids, this is something that I put in front of them frequently. This is how I want them to be spending their screen time. And so there are tons of great programs out there, but these freebies, again, are just awesome. They're so valuable. And then the next one we have this is one of my favorite websites for all things related specifically to coding. You can get HTML, CSS, Java, and as the header says, more. This is w3school.com's easy to follow and excellent information. They've got this great try it for yourself function that makes it really awesome for learning and experimenting with coding skills, because you can see what is working and what is not working. So you have if you want to use it, your child has the opportunity to self-correct in the moment and really learn from their mistakes. So yeah, this is not just for kids. You know, at the co-op I put together all their emails, and so, you know, this is a tool I use regularly to keep those co-op emails looking fresh. So if you get any of those, a lot of the skills to build them came from right here.
This is why they look so good.
I do what I can. This is a wonderful resource. This is GFC Global. And this is a wonderful resource of lessons for all types of technology-based skills. So we're talking, you can go here to get the basics, right? You can do Microsoft Office, and then you can expand out to internet skills, programming language. You can see, you know, on the screen right now that there's skills related to Google Ads, SEO, their creativity and design tools. There's so much here. Most courses consist of online text and video tutorials and interactive activities. So again, this is something that when I saw this, and I saw that it was free, I thought there had to be some sort of catch to it. And there's not. Beyond all that, there's also teacher guides, which can really help, especially somebody like me, who's not, like I said, I don't have a strong technology background. The teacher guides can really help with the implementation. So I just highly recommend this. Cool. And so then moving on to our next category, reading, but only the really, really fun things. So another one of my favorite things in the entire world is story time. I never outgrew a love of having somebody read me a story. So I get excited when I can share really great story time activities for free. So this is a podcast that I personally love. And, you know, this is more for older kids. And again, those of us who insist on story time while, you know, otherwise adulting. LeVar Burton reads, it's like reading Rainbow, but with highly elevated content. It's magical. And each episode, he reads a short story, usually between 30 and 60 minutes, that he personally selects. And there's no genre, there's no theme. It's just a collection of stories that he loves. And it really shows. So for me as a listener, it gets, and you know, my kids are too young for this. So, I mean, I plan on sharing it with them one day. So, but I can't personally speak for, you know, sharing this with kids. But because it's hard not to get excited about the story he picks, even if it's a genre that I generally wouldn't think I'd be super interested in. He's somehow able to sort of share his passion in a way that really just gets you on board. So that's, yeah, it's one of my favorite finds, and it's, you know, available anywhere you get podcasts. So wherever you're listening to podcasts already, just add it to your roster.
I will be adding that to my list.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And then for the younger kids, I'm going to round off. We only have 2 in this section, but I'm going to round this off with one of the highlights of 2020. And this is like the counter to the otherwise dumpster fire that this year has been. This is Dolly Parton reading to you. I mean, your kids. It's incredible. So
It's all for the kids, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is supported by the Imagination Library, which is an organization that was founded by Dolly Parton herself. And it's a really great organization that gets physical books into the hands of kids, which I think is so cool and important. And, you know, just having Dolly Parton read you a story, it's just too sweet for words. It brings me so much joy. Like, who doesn't love Dolly Parton?
Right.
You know, she's an American hero. She's incredible. So that's our story time section. And again, if anybody has any questions, you know, please feel free to put them in the chat box. I'm keeping an eye on it. And I know I'm moving through kind of quickly. So if I need to slow down or go back over anything, please just let me know. Our next section is one of my favorite rooms in the house, my kitchen, where I spend a lot of time. And it's one of my favorite places because not only is cooking one of my personal favorite hobbies, but it's a place where kids can really learn by doing. Like, it's life skills, it's science, and it's hopefully delicious. And that is an awesome combo. So
the favorite place for homeschoolers. That's definitely fractions in the kitchen is a big thing too.
Absolutely. So Cooking Basics, I highly recommend this site called Kids of Cooking from Kansas State University, and it just provides a boatload of lessons about cooking techniques, kitchen. Oh wait, I think I have a video for this one too. Do I? Yeah, okay, there it's going. So cooking techniques, there's kitchen safety, nutrition, and more. And it, you know, there's it includes both a YouTube hosted video presentation and an accompanying downloadable PDF worksheet. So it's, you know, there's instruction, there's hands-on interaction, there's guided learning, all these things. And then on the right, you can see there's this educators link, and you can find just a bunch of great free downloadable resources to accompany all of these lessons, including Kids of Cooking cookbook.
And meal preparation, having children help with that very early on is a fundamental part of the Montessori method. Those practical life skills and teaching the child to prepare a nutritious snack and be able to do those things independently as early as possible, so that, you know, there will be no adulting classes necessary for, you know, a young adult to learn how to boil an egg or do something simple. This is a wonderful support for that.
I have a very good friend who's a chef. She's an incredible chef. And one of my clearest memories of visiting her home was her daughter Claire was about 18 months old, and she had on mittens and a vegetable peeler and a potato.
Awesome.
So this tiny little human being was just sitting there peeling potatoes, and
Yes.
she loved it. And
it's not, you can also find smaller kitchen utensils for the kids to use too, and the child-sized aprons and the helper stool. It is, I have lots of pictures from when my kids were younger and helping cook.
it's such a special,
wonderful memories.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, you know, everybody, at the end, everybody gets to sit down and share a meal, and that's, you know, getting my family around the table is just something I value every single day. It's my favorite part of the day after all the work and all the chaos and learning and everything that's been going on, to have those times together and then to share in something that everybody participated in putting together, I think is just special. So this is, like I said, this is one of my favorite rooms to spend time with my family.
And this makes it easy.
Another great resource for kitchen skills is Plain and Not So Plain. Plain and Not So Plain is run by a homeschool mom, Amy, and she provides a very thorough 16-unit online study that includes like downloads and assessments. It's, again, I use the word thorough very specifically here. It's everything from kitchen safety to table setting, cake frosting, nutrition. It's easy to follow. It's super fun. And most important for our purposes today, it is free. It like, again, this is one that really blows my mind that it is free. Next we have, this is just one specific blog post from Steam Powered Family, which is in general a great homeschool mom blog. If you don't read it, again, highly recommend it. And this sweet post from Shelly, the homeschool mom of Steam Powered Family, provides really wonderful explanation as well as tips and recipes to demonstrate the chemistry behind candy making. My kids are more interested in chemistry lesson if they know there's going to be candy at the end. I'm more interested in sharing a chemistry lesson if I know there's going to be candy at the end.
Yes.
Right? Like, this is a complete win-win. And so, you know, like, let's focus on what's important. At the end of the day, here you get candy. But also, I guess,
healthier candy too, because it doesn't have all of the additives.
Exactly, and you can pick and choose what you make, and you know, I highly recommend keeping this maybe as just before lunchtime activities so they're not all sugared up later in the day, but that's just me. Use your own discretion. And then my last kitchen resource, and again, this is one you can incorporate to your homeschool, but one I use constantly myself. This is a website called Serious Eats, and this is one of my personal go-tos, and it's great for kids in junior high and high school, especially if they show an interest in the culinary arts. All of these recipes on the site have been meticulously tested, and they're often accompanied by very thorough science-based explanations and cooking techniques. And so you can see from here, this is talking about, you know, sous videing eggs, right? And so you can see they did all of these different tests to get the different textures and results. And so just looking at this chart, I know that they've taken the guesswork out of it, right? 40 minutes at 150 degrees will give me the perfect egg to put on top of a bowl of ramen. It's amazing. And then they, of course, they'll like teach you about why it's like that and how it works, which is, it's so cool. So you can really use a lot on this site to develop those, you know, practical life skills of cooking, but also get people, you know, get your kids excited about the science behind it, the chemistry. And it's really, the site's been around for a long time. There is a wealth of information here. I'm very excited about this website. Like, I use it constantly.
Yeah, it looks like it would be very useful for perfecting your own technique in addition to the teaching aspect.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm a firm believer that the best teachers are the ones that are willing to keep learning. So, you know, these tools that we can use for our kids oftentimes are tools that we can use for ourselves as well. So that's just my 2 cents on that. And then, so moving on to our last section of freebies for today, probably my absolute favorite freebie category, because these awesome freebies are designed to make your life easier. And we all know that homeschooling is not easy. So anywhere we can find a helping hand is huge. So I'm going to kick this section off with a freebie I'm very excited about, which is the ShillerLearning.
One of my favorites.
It's so good. This is the ShillerLearning digital fraction kit, and we've partnered with the co-op has partnered with Antoinette and ShillerLearning, so we are exclusively offering this freebie at the co-op. It normally retails for $69.95, but again, at the co-op, you can get it totally free. This is such a cool tool. Again, one thing that, there's this great article that was written by this man named Ross Kaufman, who's the former head of the Einstein Institute of Mathematics. And I believe the impetus for him writing this article was that his child just lost her mind one day when asked to do math. And he was like, how can my child not like math? I'm a mathematician. My wife's a mathematician.
It's in the genes, right?
In the genes. And then he realized she had just begun to learn about fractions, and her mind couldn't really comprehend this totally new subject. And he realized he'd spent her entire life counting to her over and over and over again. You naturally count to your child from infancy. You do it repeatedly. You talk in addition, you talk in subtraction. In some ways, you talk in multiplication, but it's very rare that parents talk to their children in fractions. You know, I say to my child, do you want a slice of pizza? Now, do you want 1/8 of this pizza? So this really cool resource helps kids conceptualize fractions. And for me as a parent, it gives me that reminder to talk to my kids in terms of fractions as part of daily conversation, so that when the concept is introduced to them, it's not so overwhelming. So I think this is the coolest. Just go download it. Just go download it. And again, you can get that at the co-op, absolutely free. Another great freebie we have available at the co-op is these homeschool IDs for both students and teachers. So similarly to what I was talking about at the top of this webinar, homeschoolers often miss out on discounts just by the nature of being homeschoolers, where, you know, other kids get them. And so these IDs allow you to get those discounts at the movie theater, at the bookstore, at the museum, anywhere other students and other teachers are getting discounts.
These are very handy. I printed off homeschool IDs for my own family from the co-op probably about 15 years ago.
Excellent. Well, we hope they came in handy. Yeah, we've been using these same IDs for a long time, and they're great. You know, you do need to be a member to get them, but again, the membership is totally free. So
and very easy to sign up to.
Like less than a minute process. It's super easy. So again, this is a great tool. Have it, keep it in your wallet, get those extra discounts because everybody else is getting them, and, you know, homeschoolers shouldn't be left out. This is another, our next two are two more awesome Schiller resources, because yeah, Antoinette and her team really they just do so much to support homeschoolers, and developing these resources just show that. So this is their student planner. And empowering kids to take control of their day and organize aspects of their life can be like a very powerful tool in propelling them forward and getting them invested in their own education. And this free student learning pack from Schiller does just that. It is one of those rare finds that seems too good to be true, but true it is. It's filled with Montessori inspired, multi-sensory activities that help set up your homeschool space, inspire a love of learning, with a focus on like practical planning, which is essential. So your student will learn about budgeting and goal setting and other students around the world, scheduling, and many, many other skills that will help move you through your year.
And when students are involved with the planning of their homeschool day, week, year, they are much more likely to buy into that schedule and be active participants of making sure that they stay on track. So involving them with the planning is a great thing to do.
Absolutely. Oh, and I think I accidentally skipped forward. I'll get back. Anyway, next slide, teacher planner. So yeah, our kids are quick, right? And if we're not prepared, they're gonna smell it on us. It's going to be the end. So the team at Schiller again decided to put together like their dream planner, and this is my dream planner too. I love it. It will help you in preparing for a new school year or launching into your first year of homeschooling if you're new. It's full of useful pages to help you get set up for success. It's great. I don't know how people function in homeschool without a great planner, and this will help you. And it's free. So again, very exciting.
And the printables in the parent planner coordinate to the printables in the student planner also, so that they're nice, they complement each other.
So
and these links will be in the list that Cailin put together that we'll be emailing afterwards. Again, if you're watching the replay, just download that document click the link to the document in the comments, and you'll be able to get all of these.
Absolutely. Okay. And then free homeschool curriculum, right? This is what we're all looking for all the time. So one of the things that's really important to us at the co-op is making it easy to find valuable freebies. And we have this entire free resources section in our top menu. And this is the free curriculum page. This is an incredible resource with a plethora of free curriculum options. You can search by age and category, or type it in free text, go crazy. There are a ton of options collected and organized for you all right here. So homeschoolbuyersco-op.org, free resources, free curriculum.
And I have shopped with the co-op over many years for my own family, and I have to tell you, before you put this together, your presentation, I didn't realize that you guys had all of these free resources available, because when I've gone to your site, it's always been in the mind of shopping and spending money. This is just an amazing resource. So wonderful support for, again, new and veteran homeschoolers alike. I know I will be diving in and exploring around there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is today's freebie roundup. And so again, any questions you have, please put in that chat. We do have something from Spirit. And Spirit, before I read the question, I'm going to ask you to give me a little point of clarification. So hopefully you can put that in the chat box really quick. But where are you? Because that would be helpful in answering this question. So Spirit wants to know if we can give recommendations on how to incorporate daily history activities for lower elementary, and she's in Santa Cruz, right? So I don't know a whole lot about, you know, the history of Santa Cruz, but I would start by saying, okay, where, like, how far back do I want to go? Because I imagine in Santa Cruz, you have indigenous people that populated it. So you can talk about the tribes that either lived there or moved through there. You can talk about, I imagine there were missionaries out there, close enough to the gold rush where you can talk about that. So I would look for things that are related to physical places I can take my child so that they sort of connect the history with real life. They understand that this event happened in this specific place. This place is my home. I am part of history too. So that's my personal approach for that sort of thing. I think it's really powerful to tie that all together.
Yeah, that's always part of my recommendations also, Cailin. History is so interesting, and it's really unfortunate that many people see it as something dry and boring. But a contributor to that is the fact of how history is often taught, which is dry, kind of boring textbook reading, followed by worksheets that are more busy work than meaningful. And by doing exactly what you just said, Cailin, relating it to the child's life and starting with those things in your area, no matter where you are, you will find living history activities that aren't too far from your home. Now, with 2020 being 2020, I don't know how many of those things are happening right now, but you can still get a taste of that with virtual field trips. And I would recommend using that freebie that Cailin shared at the beginning to find some of those historical sites that are offering those virtual resources as well. So you may not be able to get a personal tour right now, but you can probably do that through an online resource. Also, you know, starting off with talking about their hometown and you know, your hometown, and then working outward and going to your, you know, maybe your county, your state, the capital, then your country, your family's country of origin. You can, you know, start with your child and then work out from there, always relating that back to, you know, how it relates to them. And that can launch you into ancient civilizations as well. ShillerLearning does have a activity pack. It's downloadable. It makes a great standalone history curriculum for lower elementary, but it's also a nice supplement to anything else that you would be using. It's the Around the World in 80 Activities. So it's Montessori based, multi-sensory, and really, again, helps to ignite the child's interest because they're doing hands-on activities when they're learning about cultures all around the world. So that's a lot of fun too. And that's another, my final suggestion on that topic is, like every other subject, making it multisensory makes a big difference. And so when you're learning about Indigenous peoples, building models of their homes, you know, making recipes that they may have had, you know, bringing that food and getting into the kitchen. That was always a favorite for my own kids when we were doing, you know, looking at different cultures and time periods. The dress, you know, kids love dress up. History is very a great place to use as a launching point for the dress up activities also.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you've just said. I think, you know, and going back to something you said early on in there about the idea of history being dry and boring, I actually had, I think it was 6th grade, I had a history teacher. And up to that point, I really didn't like history. But, and again, this sort of relates back what I was talking to around LeVar Burton and Dolly Parton. He was just like, I don't get when people don't like history. It's a story. And he's correct. It's this big, interesting, multifaceted story. So if you can incorporate history as if you're a storyteller, that can be a really great way to get kids engaged. And if you need a little help, there are a lot of great historical storybooks for children, you know, as young as 1 or 2, all the way up through their school career, that I'm sure you can find at your local library, or, you know, on Amazon or a local bookstore, anywhere. And somebody, you know, in any of those places will be able to help you identify those resources.
And then Spirit, ShillerLearning will be doing an activity pack on the great story. We don't offer a resource on that yet, but it is in the works.
Oh, that's very exciting. Does anybody else have any questions? Give you a few minutes.
Scanning through, I think we did get everything. Couple of questions had come in about where to get the links, so that will be going out. And ShillerLearning does have one final freebie to offer to everyone, and that is our diagnostic testing, which can help you to determine in math or language arts what your child does and doesn't know, and create a really easy to use learning plan.
Awesome.
With promo code, just put that into the chat box, T at 2HSBC. Just use that and you can get any of our diagnostic testing 100% free. And I will add that to the email with your list also, Cailin. And Cailin, I thank you again for joining us today and putting this incredible list together for all of our viewers.
Because I had the most fun. So thank you guys for attending and allowing me to do this. I had such a good time putting this together for you. So I appreciate, again, just getting able to share a little slice of your day. It's an honor. Thank you.
I can't wait to use these and dive into what looks like an endless list of resources at the Homeschool Buyers Co-op website. So again, thank you to everyone, and we will see you next week on Tuesday at 2. Thanks, Cailin.